Good morning, everybody. Let me see if I can get it on my iPad. Oops, wrong thing. There I am. Oh, I forgot to turn my volume down. I had it on. Hey, Christine. I was watching a video yesterday and I forgot to turn the volume down. I hope everybody has your beverage of choice. You're joining me for Stamps, Paper, Ink. I have started a new series for Saturday mornings. I think we have a lot of new stampers, and they get intimidated by some of the things they see, and they think, I could never do that. That's too many supplies. I don't have that much. I'm going to use this series to show you how you can take just stamps, paper, and ink and create a pretty card. So that you don't need a ton of supplies. So that's my goal today. Oh, hi, Carol. We have a beautiful day here. We're watching the tropical storm. I think it's going to go across the middle, of the state, but it could ease our way. We'll see. I have glue all over me. Hey, Gladys. I was working on one of my seals that was messed up, and I'm trying to fix it. If I can't fix it, I'm pitching it. They replaced it because it wasn't working right, but I'm trying to see if I can save it. But if not, it'll go away. But I'm learning a lot, so if other people have issues with their seals, I can. And seal, for those of you who don't know, is this a tape runner. So from Stampin' Up. We've been hot, Carol. So that's nothing new for us. I know some areas it's not, but I think we hit 90 degrees a couple of days. It was humid too. The heat isn't so bad, it's when it's humid. But you never know with the weather down here. I mean, it could rain this afternoon and be 70 degrees tomorrow if a cold front comes through. So we just kind of roll with the punches until about the middle of August, September. Oh, they're brutal down here. I'm in North Carolina, for those of you that don't know. I'm actually in New Bern, which was I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. It'll be coming up 3 years because I moved down in August. I was here 1 week and had to evacuate. Hurricane Florence came through here, and we were all over the national news because the waterfront area was flooded, and we lost so many buildings downtown and everything else. So we're getting there. We're recuperating slowly. The convention center has opened back up. There's a hotel that opened back up. The marinas are still struggling because so many of them lost their piers. But it's in eastern North Carolina, and if you take New Bern, this area over here, and it's probably backwards the way you're seeing it, is the Outer Banks. And then there's water here. It's rivers and all in between that separates North Carolina, the Outer Banks from us. And we are about 45 minutes south of here is Emerald Isle, which is the bottom part or the bottom section of the Outer Banks. So 45 minutes I can be to the ocean and the beach, and there's a great beach down here, and I go when the girls come down, and we have a good time. But other than that, I've been busy working on some things. I'm making lots of changes. So the change to the, hey Colleen, to the series that I've been doing, that's west of us. So I don't know how many hours away, but it's quite a ways away. We're 2 hours north of Wilmington. Wilmington's here, we're here. So it takes us 2 hours to get to Wilmington. Nice little town, very friendly. A lot of the people in the development I'm in are transplants. So we all just kind of have our have fun, you know, do lots of things. It is a golfing community. I do not golf, but a lot of people do here. And so it's very friendly. Everybody accepts everybody else. There's never a problem. Hey, Carol. Boy, people are coming in like crazy. I must have shown up on somebody's feed. Either that or my stamps, paper, ink idea got to you. I will tell you, when I did mine, I did not use a ruler, so my line of stamped blocks is a little crooked. So today I'm going to use a ruler and show you that it's a little bit, you can get it a little bit straighter. Oh, Carol, you should come down for a visit. It's a beautiful town. Lots to walk around and see downtown. And like I said, we're so close to the beach. So people come down and stay. They come down for a visit and then end up staying. All right, I'm going to take one more sip and we're going to get started, because I think people come in and they want to see this. They don't want all the chit chat, and I'm the same way. I just want to see what's going on and not worry about the chit chat. So, got my drink, moved it to the side, and I'm going to switch to my hand view. And there's the card we're going to do. And this is the line. See how it kind of goes over to the side? So I'm going to do some things today, draw a line today real light, and see if that doesn't help. So I'm going to move that there. I'm going to pull out my card base, and the only paper I'm using is white. All right, and it's just a half a sheet of cardstock folded in half. And you know, I'm in the US, so mine is 8.5, 5.5 by 8.5. Oh, thanks, Carol. But if you're somewhere else, just adjust it. All right, now to do this, and I've got some hints for you, I'm gonna, because I want to get it a little bit straighter than it is, I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna make a mark at about 3/4 of an inch at the top and 3/4 of an inch at the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a real faint line connecting them. And this will help me line it up. The thing you have to be careful of is when you do this, you have to stay to the side of it. You can't stamp over top of it. If your ink gets on there, you can't erase it. It's hidden under the ink, so just keep that in mind. Hopefully, I haven't messed it up totally. For the flowers and the leaves and the sentiment, I am using In Bloom. This does have coordinating dies, but I love the dies. But I bought it as a bundle, and it's like, okay, what are some things we can do with this? So I'm going to show you an idea. So that's the stamps that we're using. And the first thing you need is you need a B block, which is basically about 2 inches by 1 3/4. All right. You need a spray bottle of water, and you need some ink. And I used, for my strip, I used Daffodil, Flirty Flamingo, and Melon Mambo. I tried a combination with something else, and it didn't look as nice. So those are the inks I'm using. All right, I'm going to start with my Daffodil Delight. And I have a trash can down here because when I spritz over my trash can so it doesn't get on everything. You also need a scrap of paper, and this is the hint that I discovered. I'm just going to flip this over. I tried several ways, and if the ink isn't on there just right, it doesn't stamp well. So I inked it up, and my pads are very juicy, as you can see. Then I put it on my paper and twisted it, and by twisting it, I make sure I cover my whole block. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to spritz it with water. All right, and I'm going to stick my card here. All right, so I've got it wet, and the ink will move around, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to set it down. And I'm leaving it a few seconds for the ink to transfer. And that's how you can get a really pretty, and I'm not worried about if it's perfectly rectangle or not, but that's how you get a pretty watercolor look. Now, you do have to clean this in between. So I just take a towel, an old towel, because if not, when you put the block in your next color, you'll muddy your next color. So I'm going to move that over there. My next color is Flirty Flamingo, and that's the color I struggled with the most until you want to make sure it's fully covered. I'm going to set it down and twist it so that I get color on there. And you don't have to worry that you can see the twisting. And I think I twisted it too much, so let me try again. When I flipped it over to add the water, there was no ink in part of it. All right, so I'm going to spritz it with water, and you want to make sure you spritz the whole thing. And I'm doing it over a trash can too because you sometimes drip. I have a couple of spots where there's no. All right. I don't have to worry. All right, I'm going to flip it over the trash can because it can drip. All right, now see, I should have. See how I have none down here? So what I'm going to take and do is I'll clean it, and I'll do another one on top, and I'll make sure the ink is down this way. So that's the key, is making sure your ink is over your whole block. And you also want it to be, you don't want it to be splotchy. Okay, took too much off. And I'll show you what I mean. See how it's splotchy here? That's what happens if it's splotchy. So let me try again. You need a real fine mist, and that's why I'm using this, because I get a fine mist from it. Right. And you're adding quite a bit of water because you want it watery. For some reason, all right, I'm going to try it and see. Okay, flip it over. I have to be careful because I don't know. Okay, I think I got it on there. So see, you can go back and add more if you need to. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to leave it, and I'll go on. But and it could be that it's an issue because of the way I have re-inked my pad. I'm not going to put that away. Oh, yes, I am, because I don't need this one. I use Melon Mambo on the tips. And then I'm going to do Melon Mambo. All right, I've cleaned it off. And my Melon Mambo, I'm going to take and twist it, but see how, I'll pull it up, see how you can see it, see how it's, I don't know, covered better. All right, there you go. I think I figured out what I did wrong with the other one. All right, I'm going to flip this over, and I'm trying to line it up. If they overlap a little, it's okay. I discovered what I did wrong. All right, where's my towel? Oh, it fell. All right. The stamp set is in bloom, Carol. Sorry. All right. I discovered what I did wrong. When I ink this up, and I've got a little bit of space here. See, so this one is still going. I've got to watch it and pull it over a little bit. When I inked this up, twisted it, and then sprayed it. This one I was spraying it. You want one long spray, and that's what this one will give you. You can pull it towards you slowly, and it will spray consistent. It's not like you have to pump it, and I was pumping it. So I think I discovered the issue. Don't you love it when I make the mistakes? All right, I've got that right now. See how it made one long spray? And I'm doing this because I've got this space down here. So I'm going to pull this over. I'm just going to come this way slightly, like so. All right. And that's how you make that stripe. And you can do this with any colors. I played with it on scrap paper first. And see, this is what happens. I'm going to get rid of that because it's got ink all over it. This is what happens if your ink on your block is not, how do I say it, smooth. If it's got pieces in it, you're going to miss it. So one long spray if you can. Now I'm going to take my pencil, and I used a mechanical pencil because you can erase this line and nobody ever knows that you cheated to get it a little straighter. But see how this one is much straighter than that one, but it still kind of goes over some. But this one's better than that one because that one really leans. All right, so that I'm going to set aside to dry. Now I will tell you, because you're adding water to white, it's not watercolor paper, it does kind of make your paper wet and soaks through. I probably should have had this open, but I'll just put a piece inside to hide it. So keep that in mind, keep it open when you do it, because then it doesn't bleed through the backside. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and I'm going to pull in my scrap paper, and from that stamp set I chose this flower, this leaf, and that sentiment, because I thought that strip of color just says amazing. All right, I'm going to use Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and I have a sponge dauber. I know that doesn't look like it's the color, but it is. All right, I'm going to ink my stamp up with my daffodil. Then I'm going to take my sponge dauber and I'm going to go around the edge. And as you can see, I've used white paper, a stamp set, one stamp set, and 3 colors. All right, and then I'm going to stamp my image here, like so. And that's how you get the corners, and it does dry. All right, I'm going to clean this up real quick with my towel. Well, Lynn, I'm glad you joined us. All right. You will stain your stamps with pinks and reds. That just means it's quality photopolymer. So I'm going to ink it up. I'm going to do the same thing because I'm going to do 2. Now there are dies that go with this, but the dies do not cut out the images. So this is fussy cutting. So that's the reason why it's a good set to do this with. All right. I'm going to set that aside and see how it's changing. It'll go even lighter by the time it's fully dry. I'm going to get rid of these. And for some bright leaves, I'm going to use Granny Apple Green and my leaf from the same stamp set. And I'm going to put this down, and I'm giving it a few minutes to transfer, because see how all those bubbles are there? You got to give it time for that ink to soak in. And I need 3 of them. So I'm going to stamp it like so. All right. Now you need a good pair of scissors. Now, I will tell you, ladies, don't go buy the Fiskars scissors that the kids use. It's just not worth it. It's going to frustrate you to cut your images out. Get some good quality scissors. I use our Snips from Stampin' Up! And love them. So here is how I cut out my flower, and I found this to be a quick and easy way rather than trying to go down in between all those. So I cut it out first as a circle using the petals as an edge. Thanks, Janice. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to go down the side of it, and I work my way all the way around. If you don't like it that way, then just do one section at a time, but I find it easier to just do this and turn it and keep it going. Oops. And that allows you to get it fairly close to the edge. You don't want it too close. It looks kind of funny if it's too close to me. So I leave a little bit of an edge. All right, now I'm back to where I started. So this time I'm going to go the other way. And I'm not worrying about my tips because I'll go back and clean those up. All right, so I just come down and around, and I kind of just know where the leaf is and cut it. All right, so there's that. There's that one. And if I need to, I just go back in and cut one side a little bit longer to cut it apart. See, this one didn't go down as far, so I just go in and it comes apart. And I just do it this way, which I think is a great way to to cut out like a daisy or this shape. Of course, our daisy has a punch. But I wanted to show you, you don't need a lot of supplies to make great cards, especially if you're starting out. I mean, can you imagine how much I totally lost my train of, oh, how much it would take you to make a card that you see online? It costs you hundreds of dollars. Well, you know, if you're just starting out, you may not have hundreds of dollars. So here's a way you can use your stamp set. Find a stamp set you like. Doesn't have to be this. Now, I did use a solid image, but you can use an open image. You don't have to use a solid. But if you do an open image, you're going to see through there. The other thing you can do is, if you really like the solid image, you can create a watercolor background using watercolor paper, and I would use re-inkers and wet my paper and put my re-inker on there and mix it all around, and then stamp your flower on the watercolor paper and cut it out. But you know, you don't have to have all those supplies. Plus, I like to go back to what I bought and use it often, because that's how you get your money for it. You know, if you pay, I don't know what that stamp set is. I'm going to say, if you say spend $30 for a stamp set, you used it once, that's a $30 card. That's a lot of money for one card. But if you take that stamp set, you make one card, it's $30. You make two cards, it's now $15 because you've cut it in half. 3 cards, it's $10. 4 cards, it's a little less than $9. So you see how you get the best bang for your buck by reusing your stamp sets. I'm all about reusing your stamp sets as often as you can. Now, I would, you know, buy a stamp set a month, play with it several times, and then next month buy another stamp set. So now you have 2 stamp sets to use. So keep that in mind when you're starting out and you need supplies. It's like simple. Find one with solid images and some sentiments that you like, and buy it and use it. And I stuck with white paper. And as you see, I'm going back now and cleaning up my tips because they do have a little, and I just kind of snip it a little bit. I mean, I'm barely touching it, but just enough to take that point off. And if you're really good, you can kind of round it all at once. Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day. All right, I'm going to get rid of all of this because I got all these little pieces. All right, and see, this is what I was talking about. If you use your block, you can use a small stamp that'll fit in there. I don't know if that one will. Ooh, yeah, it will. So you can stamp your I'll show you what it would look like when I'm finished. All right, now I'm going to do my leaves. And my leaves I do all in one movement. When you cut, you want to move your paper, not your scissors. And I try and cut a long cut. In other words, if you watch, I'm going to do this tip. I'm going to open it and put my leaf way back here. And then look at how far I'm getting with my cutting. And then I open it up and I cut again. So it's 2 cuts. That prevents that choppy look, you know, as you're cutting. So, bye Lynn, have a great trip, be safe. All right, so just keep that in mind. The fewer cuts you make, the less chance you have of pieces that don't match up. So I use long cuts. All right, now let me I'm going to pull this over real quick. Let me clean my stamp because I'll show you what I mean to give you. And then this way, all right, I'm trying to get the pink off so it doesn't get on my yellow. All right, here's my melon. So this will just, another idea. I mean, I start playing and these ideas come to me and I love sharing them with you guys. All right, so I've got my stamp all inked and I'm gonna put it right down here, like so. All right, and now I can cut this out as a square. I can leave a little bit of an edge all the way around and I can create a strip using this versus that. So another idea with the same thing. Now there are certain supplies you are going to need. Good snips, adhesive, and I suggest a liquid glue. I use the Tombow, but I do put it in this because I like the control of this better. Glue dots and double-sided tape. Definitely those things. Oh, and dimensionals. Gotta have dimensionals. And then everything else is extra. So I'm gonna add this. And see how this one is really open there? That's where I'm gonna put my leaves. So it just kind of fills that in a little. So I use that space to help me determine where to put my leaves. There's that one. I need one more. And I don't know which is the tip of the leaf and which isn't, so I just choose one and go with it. All right, I'm going to pull this one in a little bit further, but I have to be careful. You can pull it in further, but don't go past your flower or you'll be cutting it off. And that has happened. So if it does happen, just cut off the tip that's behind the flower so it doesn't do that. And now I'm going to add dimensionals to the backs of my flowers. And this one has 2 leaves, so I'm going to put a dimensional on each. And then I only really need one dimensional on the flower. All right, I'm going to take my pokey tool and take my backs off. All right. Yeah, okay, got my backs off my dimensionals. That thing's got glue all over it because I was using it to, oh, thanks, Carol. All right, I'm going to pull in my card and see it is kind of warped. So if this bothers you, hi Sharon, take and let it dry fully because it's still a little damp. Let it dry fully or hit it with the heat tool and then put it under a book overnight and it'll be fine. Don't put your flowers on till after. Have it all ready. And I'm going to put this one here like so. And I'm going to use the other one to hide that area. So use your flower to your advantage. And I kind of See, nobody knows that that one is messed up. So the only thing I need now is my sentiment. And then those of you who know me know that I love my bling. So I'm going to put my sentiment up here. And my sentiment is not going to be in the same place each time because it's going to be based on where my flowers are, how my line of color is. So just some things to keep in mind. So I'm going to pull in some rhinestones, and I'm going to take a large rhinestone, and these are a great deal, guys. These are like $5, and you get a ton on here. There's a glue dot already on the back, so all you do is pull it off and stick it on your project. All right, and then I'm going to add some up here just because we need to highlight that sentiment. And don't forget, when you're adding your bling, do it in odd numbers. Even numbers, the eye does wonky things. It doesn't like it. It likes odd numbers. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, I have 3 leaves. Now I do have 2 flowers, but if you think about it, the way it's set up, it's fine. And there it is, stamps, paper, ink, and a pretty card. Not bad. And what did it take me? About 25-30 minutes. So great ideas. Oh, thanks for the hearts. I love it. I love the hearts. I'm so glad I can share ideas with you and tips, because I'm great for tips. I do a lot of tip sharing. And if you missed the beginning, just come back later. Thanks, Sharon. I think it is. It's a great way for new stampers to use their supplies and, you know, not have to have a ton of stuff. All right, I'm going to get my tea and flip back to my face. This one is darker than that one. I don't know if it'll, I don't know why. Maybe I used Flirty Flamingo on this one and Melon Mambo on that one. Okay, so you just get to see 2 different ones. Okay, all right. Okay, thanks, Gladys. I'm glad you like the idea. And like I said, you have to have blocks to put your stamps on, so use them. Take and come up. I got hair on my face. Come up with ways to use them. I do this all the time. In fact, now here's one. I'll show this to you. This is a masculine. Let me switch back to my hand view. This is one, and this uses the D block, which is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Doesn't look like a square, but it is. I did the same thing, but for this, I didn't put hardly any water on it. I just spritzed it and put it down and let it sit. All right, and then there it is. So, I mean, there's a masculine version for you, and I just used different cards and stamped it. And oh, you're quite welcome, Carol. So, you know, look at your stamp sets, look at your blocks, use your ink to your advantage. All right, ladies, I'm going to get going because I have a lot to get done today. I have to make all my cards for my blog next week. I hadn't done a one, so I've got to get that done, plus a couple of other things. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I will see you back here next Saturday at 10:30 for Stamps, Paper, Ink. Bye.